Hey guys, how's it going? It's Anton Jackson. So recently, Bryan Cranston has been talking about potentially reviving his Walter White character from Breaking Bad in a potential cameo in Better Call Saul. So far in Better Call Saul, there have been some amazing callbacks and cameos to Breaking Bad characters who we've got to know and love. And what I really liked about these character revivals in Season 3 of Better Call Saul was that more or less, these characters were brought back into the plot extremely organically. I really didn't think any of these characters were forced back into the plot and were cameos just for the sake of being cameos. We first see Lydia Quayle in Season 3 of Better Call Saul when we see her talking with Gus Fring after he looks at the industrial laundry, which we all remember from Breaking Bad. And I definitely thought this was a really awesome and organic way to introduce Lydia into the plot. We definitely know that she was involved in a business with Gus in Breaking Bad, but we didn't really know how far back this went. And with this reveal in Better Call Saul in Season 3, we got to see it. And again, we saw Lydia when Mike was applying for a job at Madrigal to be on the payroll, kind of to just be on the payroll just for the books and for more or less tax purposes and I guess IRS purposes when and for it to look legit when Gus employs Mike to be his henchman and to be his muscle in Better Call Saul and in Breaking Bad. Additionally, Tyrus and Victor were definitely brought into the plot organically as well. We all know that they were Gus's henchmen in Breaking Bad, and definitely with the plot revolving more around Gustavo Fring in Season 3 of Better Call Saul. It was a great time and opportunity to revive Victor and Tyrus. I definitely thought it was a really believable way to bring the characters back in, and it didn't feel forced at all. It was definitely cool to see the backstory of Victor and Tyrus, and we got to see more about how long they've been working for Gustavo Fring and in what capacity. Additionally, the revival of Huell Babineau I thought was just brilliant writing by the writers on this season of Better Call Saul. I definitely didn't see this coming. I thought it was some really good writing to introduce Huell in a really kind of cool and natural way in the plot of Season 3 of a Better Call Saul. It was really cool to see Jimmy McGill use him as a sort of hired gun to enact this plot of placing the battery on Chuck's person, and it's pretty cool that we first know that Jimmy first meets Huell way back when he's still Jimmy McGill and not Saul Goodman. The big one that comes to mind, of course, is the cameo of Francesca when she's hired by Jimmy and Kim to work at their joint law office. I thought this was a really cool way to introduce Francesca into the plot, and it didn't really feel forced at all. And it was really cool to kind of see the backstory of Francesca and Jimmy and to see where the whole relationship started that we all saw in Season 2 of Breaking Bad when Saul Goodman hires Francesca to be his receptionist and his secretary in Breaking Bad. Another kind of smaller cameo we got to see in Season 3 of Better Call Saul, which was pretty awesome, was the reintroduction of Don Eladio and Juan Balsa into the season. It was very cool to introduce them kind of in the plot involving Gustavo Fring and Hector Salamanca. It was really cool to see the flashbacks back to Juarez, Mexico. And again, this was really organic and really a natural way to reintroduce these characters into the plot. So as of this point, I really feel the writers have really done a good job reintroducing these characters and making these cameos very believable and very natural. And of course, we can't forget the cameos of Season 2 of Better Call Saul, including Crazy 8 and the Cousins. Again, a really great way to introduce these characters revolving around Hector Salamanca. I thought it was really good writing. It was pretty cool to see Crazy 8 working for Tuco, because we didn't know that in Season 1 of Breaking Bad. We didn't really know the full extent of the relationship of Crazy 8 and Tuco, so it was really cool to see the writers kind of display that to us and to reintroduce Crazy 8 in this plot, as well as introducing the Cousins in the last season of Better Call Saul when Mike interacts with Hector Salamanca. It was a very cool way to introduce the Cousins as well. And hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more of these cameos in the next seasons of Better Call Saul, and I really think we will. After talking about all of these cameos, of course, this brings us back to the potential cameo of Walter White, the main character in the Breaking Bad universe. And this would be a big one. This would be, I feel, a really tough character to introduce as a cameo in Better Call Saul. The three major characters, including Walter White, that we haven't seen yet, which I feel like fans potentially want to see, and we could see in Better Call Saul in Season 4, or in a later season after that, of course, are Walter White, Hank Schrader, and Jesse Pinkman. In regards to Hank, there have been some fan theories and some articles written out there that Hank Schrader has already made a cameo appearance in Season 3 of Better Call Saul. It hasn't been confirmed, I do not believe, but if you go back to Episode 4 of Season 3 of Better Call Saul, when the DEA is raiding Hector Salamanca's front at the ice cream shop, there's a voice on the in the scene, if you go back and rewatch it, that sounds a lot like Hank Schrader. And so that leaves us with the two big money characters of Walter White and Jesse Pinkman. And to tell you the truth, I don't really know how they're gonna organically and naturally bring these characters back into the show. We all remember Walt and Jesse first kind of were introduced to Saul Goodman in Season 2 of Breaking Bad, when Badger gets arrested. And of course, Walter has no idea who Saul Goodman is, so he definitely meets him for the first time in this episode. So it would be really difficult to bring him into the plot involving Jimmy McGill in any way, because this plot takes place well before Walter White gets involved in the meth distribution. However, during the scene, if we all remember, Jesse Pinkman tells Walter White that his friend Emilio knows Saul Goodman, and Saul Goodman represented him 2 times and got him off both times. Another way I think we can potentially see Jesse Pinkman in a Better Call Saul is through the black and white flash forwards in Better Call Saul. If we all remember, when Jimmy McGill is living as Gene in Omaha, Jesse is still alive in this scenario as far as we know. So I definitely think there is some, weird potential for, Jimmy McGill, aka Saul Goodman, aka Gene, to interact with Jesse Pinkman. Who knows, maybe potentially Gene is figured out by the police of his true identity, and he needs to go on the run with Jesse Pinkman. I mean, stranger things have happened. If we call back to the first season of Better Call Saul, when we first see Tuco, it's a pretty wild, almost kind of a stretch in my opinion, to introduce Tuco into the plot that way. I thought it was a little forced, if I may say so myself, with the writers, but I definitely understand why they wanted to add Tuco into the plot that way. I really think they wanted all the people who are watching the pilot and the premiere of the Better Call Saul to be tuned in to episode 2, and reintroducing a character like Tuco Salamanca like that, I think really would draw in the interest of a lot of casual fans. It was kind of a wacky plot. The odds that these skateboarders would stumble upon Tuco's grandmother and they would somehow get involved in this crazy intricate plot where they get their legs broken, I think is quite a stretch. And the way they introduced Tuco Salamanca into the plot that way, I definitely feel like there's definitely a potential for Walter White and Jesse Pinkman to emerge in Better Call Saul before the series is completed. Alright guys, thanks very much for watching this video. My name is Anton Jackson. I really appreciate all the people who are watching my videos and subscribing to my channel. I'll see you guys around.